G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Aussie Starcraft. We're bringing you the winners match from day 2 of MLG's Game On, a fantastic online tournament that's been taking place here in January. In the top left hand corner of Habitation Station it is Root State, and the top right hand corner is our Red Zerg. It is going to be EG Suppy, and what a great series this has been so far. Game 1 very exciting from the get-go. If you haven't seen it, you ought to duck back and check it out. We had State execute just a fantastic two-base timing attack, and managing to claw Game 1 off Suppy. So we'll see if Suppy can make a bit of a resurgence here in game number 2, or whether State's going to 2-0 Suppy and take a clean sweep into the round of 8. So of course this is a best of 3 games, so one more win for State and he will take the series. Suppy on the other hand has to take this one and a tie-breaking game 3 to be able to do so. We see Suppy actually using the old extractor trick there to squeeze out a few extra drones, and we see State going for, I wonder if he's going to go for the same sort of greedy opening that he did in game number 1. Game number 1 saw a command center before Gateway, which I thought was pretty ambitious of State, but he showed he knew how to pull it off in what was one of the tidiest two-base timings we've seen thus far out of a Protoss player here in the tournament. So this is of course Habitation Station. These high yield mineral patches do present an interesting dynamic to the matchup. Can be used and abused in many different ways, and we'll see what our players have in store for us today. Actually have Suppy here, who's already thrown down his expansion before pool. And likewise State actually going for his Nexus on the low ground yet again. So going to be a quick expand, so we'll see if State can make this work in game number 2. He did manage to do it decisively in game number 1, so I wonder what's going through State's mind at the moment. Is he thinking, I did that so cleanly, I ought to try it again, or whether he's going to mix up the build or swap up his tech choices? See him grabbing his gas now. Suppy on the other hand, spawning pool on the way, gas also on the way for that essential Zergling speed. We have some scouting overlords that are going to be taking note of what's going on here. They can see the wall ins already mostly completed, and just going to take up position here. So I'm wondering how Suppy is going to adapt, having seen game 1. We did have a fantastic game between Suppy and Major on Habitation Station that is in the channel. If you have not seen that game between Suppy and Major, or Major was playing under his tag Windy, it is on the channel. If you haven't seen it, you ought to go and see it. It's one of the closest games I've ever cast. I just had an absolute blast casting. It was a hilarious game to watch. So if you haven't do a search on the channel, Suppy versus Windy, and you'll see a great game. But Suppy, well known for shenanigans, particularly with high yield mineral patches, so we'll see if he decides to use and abuse those this game, or whether he decides to change things up and go for some sort of two-base timing to break this very quick expand of States. Let's see, Queen's now on the field for Suppy, and this Overlord perhaps having chilled out just a little bit too long over the natural expansion. We almost have the first sentry out. It looks like State's opening is remarkably similar to game number 1, so I'm curious if he does indeed plan to progress straight down that same decision tree. We have Suppy going for base number 3, so it didn't quite work for him in game number 1. He did fall prey to that timing attack. I wonder if we're going to see history repeat itself. Will State be able to get the clean sweep 2-0 to go into the round of 8? Be surprised to see him do it to a player of Suppy's caliber, particularly when Suppy seems to be in such great shape. He powered through the opening of this group stage, and would really be surprised to see him go down to 2-0 here. But State seems to be in great form, and looks like we'll have an excellent series on our hand. I'm a little bit concerned for State though. He appears to be, yep, and here come the 3 gateways. They're going to be spotted by this Overlord. And if that's the rover, indeed we have a precise replica of the push from last game. No forge coming down yet, but I imagine that's only moments away. I really I'm a little concerned for State, because tricks like this may work once on a player like Suppy, but extremely unlikely to fall for precisely the same thing twice in a row. We will, I guess we'll see if that's the case, or see if State's push just has the Zerg number. Let us know down below. Who are you rooting for in Group B? We have Suppy, State, and Neeb, and momentary brain freeze on player number 4. Suppy, State, Neeb, and one more. Ooh, that's embarrassing. Let us know who you're rooting for in Group B, and who you're hoping will go through the round of 8. We will have 2 players progressing, and unfortunately two will find the end of the road here on day number 2. But really excited to see what matchup. We've seen a lot of Protoss versus Zerg so far in Game On. Almost all the games in Group A and Group B have been PVZs, but there are quite a number of fantastic Terran players yet to come, as well as some other great Zerg players still to come in Group C and D. Particularly looking forward to Scarlet's games on, I believe Scarlet's in Group D, and it's going to be a very exciting day 3 and 4. We have State up here, posturing at the top of the ramp, ready to sweep down and threaten this third base. We have 24 Zerglings and 4 Roaches here. So it actually looks like Suppy's going for a much more Zergling-centric defense here. Perhaps that's to get around these force fields. He did manage to make some contact with the Protoss force in game number 1, but unfortunately the Roaches were a little bit of a liability as he was unable to close to range, whereas Zerglings perhaps could have made it around the edges of the force field and engage the sentries and stalkers directly. The Mothership Core here ready to lay down some suppressive firepower. The Protoss force is going to be forced to pull back and force field the ramp. A lot of energy going down there. Is that going to allow State to continue to push here? He has used a lot of energy for that. 5 force fields. These are poor Roaches on a bad rally point, unfortunately going to get picked off there. This Zerg force posturing in the middle of the map. Is it going to go for a base race, or is it in fact gonna pull back and engage this Protoss force? There aren't any Immortals here yet. The first Immortal is on its way. Actually, sorry, there's 3 Immortals and the Warp Prism sitting back at base, but it appears that State might be a little bit too busy, and he's actually working his way into the corner. It's a great angle to engage this third hatchery, but how's Suppy going to respond to this? Protoss army potentially could be stuck here. I imagine we'll see a Mothership recall to get out of this, but and indeed we do. So a clean snipe of that third hatchery. Very nice positioning with those force fields, allowed him to take lay siege and waste that hatchery without taking very much damage at all. If we look at the units lost have, it's 880 to 425. So a nice decisive hatchery snipe for State, and Suppy's starting to look like he's in quite dire straits. Protoss army is moving out yet again. Still energy for a mass recall, but there's a large Zerg force moving out in the map. Actually 171 supply to 114. Providing Suppy can find a clear area to engage where he can't be have his force cut in half by those force fields, he could very well turn the tide of this battle very quickly. Looks like Suppy's scouting well. Zergling's very aware of where this Protoss force is, but Suppy's actually barreling towards State's base. We have a pylon here largely being ignored by Suppy as he just express trains straight into State's base. Big mass recall gonna force the Protoss army to withdraw right back to the home base. But State's in an unenviable position now. He's mass recall twice. That's going to leave the Mothership Core without any energy to do so yet again. He has to engage perfectly here, and burrow. He has no. Oh, there is an observer. He's caught the Roaches. He knows they're burrowed, but the Zerg forces come up right on top of these Stalkers. The Stalkers, unfortunately, their blinkers off cooldown. They're taking massive damage from the Zerglings, and the Roaches are literally on top of them. No energy to mass recall. This is a horrible news for State. The Immortal's now being caught by the Zerglings. One Immortal goes down. Second one is surrounded and goes down. The third one goes down. Massive supply differential. We have Suppy with double the supply of State and barreling his way straight in the front door of State. Dark Shrine is up, but unfortunately the Mothership Core just raining fire from above, but it's too little damage, and Suppy's just destroying the front gate of State here, showing that he knows how to return the favour. Suppy laid that trap with precision. The observer unfortunately only showing up in time to watch the Zerg force destroy State's army. So nice little response from Suppy there, able to bait out the mass recalls nice and quickly, and just get a fantastic engagement to take this game back. So one match each for Suppy and State, and this series will be going to game number 3. So don't miss it, guys. It will come up right after this break. So we'll catch you in game number 3.